course, we got this big old storm that's rolling up on us. Hurricane Helene.
All right, I think you are good to go.
We got this big old storm that's rolling up. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning, Tide Point. Good morning to the members that are joining us from home. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, my name is Michael Friedel. I'm your Executive Director, and we got a full-packed meeting and agenda today. And we actually have a guest speaker that's going to join us to share a little bit of information with you as well. So looking forward to partnering with one of our members during this presentation. So let me go ahead and jump right into the agenda in terms of what we're going to take a look at today. And you've probably heard me talk about the point of sale system. A few months back, I actually reviewed that with you in this meeting and just wanted to be able to provide an update with you this morning. We have our resident satisfaction survey coming up, so I'm going to share a little bit about that. And then I'm going to share some department updates, namely what the departments have been working on in regards to your feedback through the survey. And then we'll talk a little bit about this monster storm that is winding up in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be rolling up through here later today and through tonight, and then an opportunity for questions. So, point of sale, that is what we call computer-based system that we would use in the dining room and in the accounting office to ring in orders for members that have, that are coming into a restaurant for dining, that actually will track meal counts, that will track any additional expenditures, such as if you have a glass of wine or a drink in the bar, we'll be able to ring it up right through that system. So that is what a point of sale system is called. If you go into a restaurant, really any restaurant nowadays, you're gonna experience that. Lots of times the server will have a handheld tablet or something to be able to take your order table side, and then she pushes send, and it goes right to the kitchen and fires the order. So that's the system that I'm talking about when I say point of sale. So real quick, the company that we partner with is called Full Count. And Full Count has these systems throughout many continuing care retirement communities. And these systems have more than just the capability to be able to ring in orders. You actually have a reservation system tied to it. And then also they have, in our case, we're going to eventually be able to order online. So if you wanted to go order, you're going to be able to go in and order directly through the app, which is pretty exciting. So I'll share a little bit about what that's going to do for us, but ultimately some of the efficiencies that we're going to gain from the system is better order accuracy. So I hear the cooks say many times when I'm talking to the chefs in the kitchen, I can't read what the servers are writing because it's all handwritten, and when the servers are at the table, they're trying to move pretty efficiently through taking those orders so they can move table to table. So that's actually going to provide better order accuracy. And then it's going to help the chef with inventory tracking. So he's going to be able to monitor inventory in real time. Another benefit of this is he's going to be able to see what we've sold. So like if the chef was in here and I said, there he is in the back, chef, how many did you sell last night? He says, I don't know, I got to go manually track it and see what we did. So he'll be able to log into the system and he'll be able to see, we sold 75 fillets or 95 crab cakes. As a matter of fact, out of those crab cakes, 20 of those were to go, and the other ones were in the dining room. So, and then we'll be able to see accounting efficiencies. So Sally's in the back here. I think she's anxiously awaiting this system implementation. So in real time, the next morning when the accounting office comes in, they'll be able to download, and it probably happens automatically overnight, they'll be able to download all the transactions that took place the day before, and they get queued up on a daily basis, and then at the end of the month, they get rolled up, and then will be transitioned into your monthly statement. And but the benefit of that is also that from the dining experience, we'll be able to see how much wine we're selling, or how many, bottles of this liquor that we use, etc. So a lot of efficiencies are going to be gained, particularly for the accounting office, and I know they're really excited about this. And then there's going to be a resident portal. So you'll actually be able to go log in through the app and tie in and track your meal counts. And you'll be able to see your billing in real time. So, and then you'll be able to see if there's any discrepancies on your bill in real time. So that's a really nice benefit. And then ultimately increasing, more account accuracy for you in terms of when you get your bill. So quite a few benefits for this point of sale project. Some additional context to this program. It's one of the really neat benefits, and I've worked with similar programs in other communities, is that you'll be able to track you'll be able to go right into the app, and as I mentioned, you'll be able to see how many meals that you have left, or how many, conversely, how many meals you use, and it helps reduce frustration, because sometimes you may lose count, but it'll help you, get a better handle on how that's going to flow on a daily basis for you. Hopefully, ideally, eventually, maybe not initially in the first month, but this should cut down on the traffic that goes into the accounting office. I got billed for 2 glasses of wine, only had 1. I've heard that before, or, for some reason, I didn't use all these meals. So this should, in real time, be able to track that and cut down on the traffic in the accounting office, which is going to be really nice. And then there's going to be a couple phases to this rollout. So initially, it's going to be the point of sale system that I was really just talking about, the servers taking the order, delivering that to the kitchen, ringing in bar orders. That's going to be phase 1, but then there's going to be 2 more phases after that. The second phase is going to be the reservation system. So that's a whole nother piece of the business that's going to change up a little bit, and that we're going to have to unpack, and we're going to have to do some training and education on. So right now, everybody calls into the concierge, and essentially the concierge is our POS, in terms of reservations. But there is other ways that you can do that. And one of those ways is that members are going to have the option to be able to go in through this app and say, hey, on Thursday night next week, I want to be able to put in a reservation for 4 people. I know where I want to go. I know who's going to be. And you can go in and you can put that in yourself. Now the app will have parameters around that. In other words, same ones that we use up front. There's only going to be so many members that can eat at a specific time, so we can sort of balance that out, similar to what we do now. But you will have that ability to do that. But not everybody, if you choose not to do it, you're not going to have to go into the app to do it. We will still take reservations, but it's probably going to look a little bit different in terms of how we do that. As an example, it may be a specific time frame that we're going to take reservations, so we can gain some efficiencies in terms of our staffing, in terms of how we're utilizing our staffing. So more to come on that phase 2. And then phase 3 is going to be the online ordering. So once we get a rhythm and a cadence with our menus and how we get them laid in and how we track and how we update the system, eventually the plan is to do online ordering. So if you wanted to go order, you'd be able to go in based on whatever the menu is, tick off what you want, and then hit the pickup time, and then we'd have your order ready for you. So that's a pretty nice system. So next steps for this, we are looking to get the hardware installed in November. So the company's going to come in, they're going to run the cables that is needed to be able to tie this project together, and then they'll install the hardware. So the hardware is essentially like cash register type little computers, monitors we call them, where you would go in and they'll sort of log in, and then you would type in the residence and then go through the ordering process. But so there's hardware installation in November, and then in November, December, we're going to go through staff training, which is going to be pretty intense. And the reason I say that is because right now we don't have a POS system at all. So for many of our folks, they've never used one of these systems. So we're going to have to go through and do training. And then we're going to do some member education around that as well. What is this going to look like and feel like for you? It's going to be a different experience for you. And I can say that, based on my experiences, that initially, the best laid plans, right? We're going to have the best laid plans. But initially, there's going to be some bumps in the road. It could be a little bit longer for the server because they feel a little under pressure to be able to deliver in front of a member. It could be some, missed opportunities from the service when they're putting in specifics about your order, such as hold the butter or whatever it is. It could be some of those nuances that we have to deal with. But I can pretty confidently say that eventually this system is going to be really great for the dining experience. Phase 1 launch, talked a little bit about that already, but that's going to be the core system. Phase 1, the launch of that is actually going to be January. So we go through the training in November, December. We do some education with you all so you can understand what the experience is going to feel like. And then implementing that in January, ideally January 1st. Phase 2, to be decided. That's dependent on how well phase 1 goes in. Ideally, we do that at the end of the first quarter in 2025, and then we roll into the to-go orders by the end of the second quarter. And so each one of these could be moved up. The core system is not going to be moved up, but phase 2 and phase 3 could be moved up depending on how well phase 1 goes. So that's right around the corner for us. Resident satisfaction survey. So yesterday I celebrated a milestone here. It was my 1-year anniversary. That went by really quick. Really, really quick.
Yeah, we didn't scare you away.
No, still here. So actually, September 25th last year is when I started, and I think 2 weeks later is when the survey started last year, 2 or 3 weeks later. So I was just coming in and getting onboarded when this happened last year. But once again, it comes around annually. So we're getting ready to roll into our annual resident satisfaction survey, and that's gonna be starting in October. So it's an annual process that is sponsored by the Senior Living, where we can send you a survey, confidential survey online, and you go in and complete that. And there's a 2-week window for you to be able to do that. And then we generally get the results in December. And as many of you that were here right around January know that I shared those results with you in January and February, and then shared a plan with you as well in terms of how we were going to address some of that. So it is confidential. It's only available online, similar to what we did last year. And there's many benefits to just doing it online. One is it does help to streamline the process. It does help to get the results back sooner and quicker. And then you have the confidentiality of that. So a little look back. So last year, for the 2023 survey, we actually had participation rate of 79%, which was really good. So almost 8 out of 10 members chose to take the survey. This year, our goal is very similar to last year. So we really would encourage you to do your survey. Our goal is 85%, which I think is really achievable and attainable. So the more that we hear from you, the stronger the results, and then the more we understand what is going on here. So a little bit more about last year. We had a 79% response rate. You can see what that ties to in terms of numbers. 226 out of 286 members took that survey, and we came in with what V classifies as an engagement score, which is a roll-up of the score, the positives, the neutrals, and the negatives, and we came in at 75%. So, and you can sort of see where those buckets were. So another look back slide here. This is the themes that we heard from you all last year. Some of the best things about living here were the staff, the members, those connections that you all make, those relationships that you build, the activity program, and the food. And there were some key areas that once we drilled down into all the results, these were some of the big areas whether it be via some of the questions or some of the verbatim feedback that you provided. These were some of the opportunities that we identified. The dining experience, which I think consists of 5 questions on the survey, the overall dining experience. The gatehouse experience, there's a lot of buzz about the gatehouse experience or lack of a positive gatehouse experience. Management, concerns about management, timely follow-up, tracking activities and progress, and then overall communication was a concern. So out of those opportunities, we put together a pretty extensive action plan that our team, the cabinet, and our leaders and our employees worked on. So there's a few nuances to the survey, and you're going to get some additional information. So this isn't the only information that you're going to see, and that'll be handouts that'll come from me. But 2 members in the same household can access the survey via one email. So if you or your spouse or your partner in your household only use one email, you can both access the survey via that one email. Last year it was different. Everybody had to have their own individual email. And I'm not quite sure what the differentiator is going to be if 2 people go in and do it. It could be as simple as just your name, Mr. or Mrs. But they did break that up this year. That should help participation. So here's another nuance. So when you go through the survey, there's a neutral answer. You know, it's like 5 answers, 2 or more on the positive side. One is the middle of the road is the neutral, and then the bottom 2 are, you know, more on the opportunity side. We did get quite a few neutral responses, and thinking that in some cases, some members may have decided to just click neutral because it didn't apply. So you might not use transportation, so you might have hit neutral, or you might not use another service within the community, a fitness center, for example, you might have hit neutral. So if it really doesn't apply, the best approach is just don't answer that question. Because then it gives us a more true number of the folks that use it. So that might not apply to everybody, but we did have quite a few in the neutral category. So we're thinking that that might have played into it. The resident satisfaction survey will be a complete online experience. I mentioned that. And that residents are going to have a variety of options to be able to do it, be able to complete their survey. You can use your own devices. It could be your laptop, your desktop, or your smartphone. So you'll be able to do it in real time once you get the link, anywhere that you choose. And the community, we're gonna provide some opportunities for folks that might need some assistance with doing the survey. You'll see that at the end of this presentation, at the end of the resident satisfaction survey presentation, in terms of what that's going to look like for you all. So the window is the 14th through the 28th, which is right around the corner, 2 weeks. We really want to get out of the gate strong, so Joy is providing some opportunities for members to be able to come down. We're encouraging you to come down. If you need support, you can come down, and this is what that's going to look like. So if you need assistance or a device, some members might not have a device. On kickoff day, Monday, October 14th, we'd love for you to come down, have a drink. Now you can do the survey first, you don't have to have a drink first. But we do, based on some of the trends that we see here, do feel that if a drink is offered, we get higher participation than if a drink is not offered. Okay, so if you like mimosas, or maybe even a Bloody Mary, you can get started early that day, 10:30 in the morning.
One per person.
Might have had a tough night the night before, come down at 10:30 in the morning, just knock it off with another Bloody Mary. Or you can come back 4 to 5 to do it. And if you do your survey, we're gonna get you a drink. So now this isn't open house. Anybody that shows up gets a drink. It's the survey. If you do the survey, we're gonna get you a drink. Okay? Is that fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you need additional supports, Joy is offering on Wednesday the 16th and 23rd. You're going to see this in some additional communications that some folks will be available to help you navigate through getting in And then you can take it from there once you're in terms of answering the questions. So, 14th, saw people writing that on their calendar already. So, that's our kickoff day. So, let's dig into a few more communications just about resident satisfaction survey. So communication was one of the areas that we thought, based on your feedback, that we wanted to focus our efforts. And I've shared this slide in the past, and that might have been another town hall, in some of the ways that we communicate, some of the ways that I, as the executive director, communicate, our cabinet communicates, our leadership team communicates, and some of the ways that the board communicates as well. So, so some of this is board related, but on a daily basis, these are some of the ways that we receive communication from you. It could be the comment cards, the bulletin boards, channel 1391, the Tie Point app, and or even connecting with departments. So we see a lot of those connections. On a weekly basis, it's not always consistent on a weekly basis, but at times on a weekly basis, you may get a memo from myself or other cabinet members or other departments just about updates that might be going on. And then we use the digital screens and bulletin boards to provide updates. Then on a monthly basis, we have the member town hall. We've been doing that consistently, which is the fourth Thursday of the month. We have the Be Living magazine, which Joy and her team do. We have board and committee minutes. So that's an update from your partners here, your members here. Meeting with Mike, which is the second Thursday of the month, which is more of an open conversation. I provide updates, and I like that one because you never know what you're going to get. So, but it is good. I think it allows, it's good conversation, right? So, good opportunity for all of us. We have the President's newsletter that goes out on a monthly basis, and then we have the Tide. And then ongoing emergency notifications. I apologize for getting that one out a little bit later last night, but I thought better late than sending it out this morning in case folks wanted to go out in the community, get meds, get food, or whatever you needed to do before this storm rolls in. And then we have a new resident orientation, which is part of the new member experience. And then once again, ongoing is channel 1391. So a lot of ways that we communicate. There's probably more opportunities that we do than I have listed here. And if there's something that maybe that you feel that we might be able to do even better, we're always open for feedback. So wanted to take some opportunities to share some department updates with you in regards to the feedback that you submitted via the survey last year. So we developed action plans. Probably one of the areas that we really focused on was the dining experience because they were some of our lower scores in the community. So I think one of the biggest areas that has been a win for this community this year is that partnership with the dining committee. There's so many just great conversations that take place in that committee, and the data that the change in approach in terms of pulling in data to better guide outcomes moving forward has been a big win. And Mr. Niner is going to come up in just a minute on the next slide and share some of that data with you that we've been talking about at the dining committee. So we've actually been able to achieve positive progress in regards to that data and that partnership. Variety was an area that we wanted to focus on, so we implemented dinner and dessert specials to add variety to the menu. So I think it's been a win for us. It has been able to add some additional variety and substance to what you're able to enjoy in the restaurants. We relaunched buffets. So that Memorial Day was the launch date, so it's once a month. Now 1 year ago, 2 months ago, when I was interviewing, it was like this on the interview because they were saying the big question in the interview was, are we gonna have buffets again? Yeah, I remember that was one of the keys, and I didn't have any history, but my last community did buffets, so we were able to do that. We're able to do it once a month. I think it's been a big win. whether it's a holiday buffet, whether it's a Sunday brunch, seems like everybody enjoys it. And I truly believe that the wine down experience has been elevated. And that is a partnership with the culinary team, with the dining team, and actually, in some cases, since we've been going through this turnover with the dining director, some of the members have been involved in terms of selecting wines. So it really, truly has been a partnership. I heard, I wasn't in the room a whole lot last night, but I heard a lot of positive feedback about the experience last night once again. But I think one of the bigger ones that we did was just a couple months ago, and that was when Kendall Jackson, we had a representative from Kendall Jackson here, which was just amazing and outstanding. So not only have we been able to really provide really great wines, but the dining experience, the food experience, partner with that has been tremendous. So, and that is really Chef Ryan and his team. And of course, we got the servers led by Sean May recently, really just knocking it out of the park. So with that, I'd like to invite up Mr. Niner. He's going to share some updates with you regarding this slide.
Thank you, Michael. Can everybody hear me? You okay? Dining Services Committee, our mission, we're charged with meeting with management, representing you all. We take your comments and we discuss them. This year, we have a kind of a dynamic group of people in the dining committee, and we thought all we do is meet every month, and all we do is talk. And it came to the conclusion we have no history, we don't know where we are, and we don't know where we're going. So we developed this chart, and I'll take you through it, but before I get into the actual numbers, an interesting thing happened. We had standard comment cards for 1 million years around here, and it made members uneasy because it required them to verbalize a great deal. So we went to the standard comment cards, that's that vertical dark line right there, and a phenomenal thing happened. You all must have loved them because all of a sudden you're writing all kind of comment cards. Very positive, very positive. So let's get into the first line up there, which is green. Can you all see the top line there? Okay, that's culinary and that's positive comments. Now, what's intriguing to me as an ex-engineer is I can understand people writing negative comments. But all of a sudden, the dining experience here must be pretty good because we're getting a whole lot of positive comments. That shows me that you all care and you think enough to write the positive comments. The important thing is when you write a negative comment, and let's take culinary, that's the red line down there, that when the chef gets that and Michael gets them, they read them and they won't contact you personally about your concerns. As you can see, we're averaging, well, let's take the last month, 84 positives versus 5 negatives. That ratio is pretty incredible. It shows that you must like your dining experience. It shows that we have some improvement to make. And let's get to the service side of the end of it. The service is intriguing to me, once again, as an ex-engineer. If you look at the bottom line there, that's the negatives for service. We've got 5 straight months of 0 negative comments. So our wait staff must be doing one hell of a job. That's all I can figure. And the positives are 59. So once again, that ratio is absolutely incredible. I would stand here and surmise with you all that within the past 12 months, we must have done something correct around here based on the annual survey last year to improve your dining experience. I can attest, I've been here 11 years, and a lot of people like to talk to me, and I receive very little negative feedback anymore about the dining. In fact, I receive very little negative feedback about anything around here anymore. So I would like to congratulate the management staff. Thank you so much. I think it's dynamic, and I think they're doing a hell of a job. This chart also is trying to show, we're trying to help management with some of their staffing issues. Let's take takeouts versus total meals. This is an astounding percentage. I always thought that everybody went to the dining room and that's where you had your evening meals. Actually, the takeouts are averaging, year to date, it's about 43%, but last month, it was 44.5%. And you say to yourself, well, who cares? I've got the right to, I can eat at home if I want. Well, when you run the budget and you have money to worry about, we average $5.26 per order for a takeout. Okay? So far this year, we're just about hitting $100,000 just for plasticware. I'm not here to tell you don't do it, but I'm telling you that these are budget concerns. You all pay your monthly fees, and this is how you work these numbers into a budget. We're 44.5% last month. V Corporate, all their places average 25%. I find that intriguing that we would be that much higher than the average fee establishment. I have no answers. I don't know why. Another interesting, that I find interesting is last month we averaged 2.9% of people that wrote comments. And if you know anything about taking surveys, if you know anything about, I don't even want to get into what's going on right now, what happened in November. When you take surveys, 2.9% is pretty doggone good. Because most people at Tide Point just want to come in here, eat their food, and go home. For that many people to think enough to write a comment card, I think is fantastic. I would encourage all of you to write a comment card. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because without feedback, our management can't react. So, are there any questions? Is anybody awake? I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Niner. There was a little blip in July, and I think that might have been, I don't know, we might have had problems with some of the comments flowing through the app. So I think we saw a little dip there, but we appreciate your feedback, and consistent feedback is really helpful for us, helpful for the chef and our dining team, not only in this area, but also in other areas. So I'm gonna flip over to the next slide, because when the last survey came out, we were talking about housekeeping and the housekeeping experience. And I was talking to Rhonda, and Rhonda was scratching her head a little bit, is like, how do we get more information to better understand what is really going on? So Rhonda partnered with our corporate team and came up with a survey. Many of you may have received that survey, and gets that back, and we've got some updates for you about that survey that I'll share with you right now. She's had about, I guess, 100 surveys come back, and the questions on the survey are a little bit different than the question you're going to get on your survey. So I think for the resident satisfaction survey, the question is just one question about your housekeeping experience. She's broken it down, trying to drill down in terms of what does that look like, where can we focus our efforts, and has 4 questions here that she's asking when you get the survey. So the first one is punctuality. If our housekeepers are supposed to be there at 10 o'clock, are they there at 10 o'clock? And for the most part, they are. 80% said yes, and you nailed it. And very good with 14%. So overall, between those two categories, it's like 94%, which is great. And then efficiency. So 75%, very good at 21. Combine those two, you sort of in the upper quadrant at 96%. Courteous and friendly, which we generally see a theme with feedback about our staff. That staff is very friendly, courteous. Love working here, you love working with them. So that's no surprise that that's one of our highest, and then quality is one of our lowest. But when you combine the two, very good and excellent, it's 93%. So one of the things that Rhonda is doing, this actually was shared in the maintenance committee as well, is that Rhonda is starting to do some audits. So if Rhonda hasn't been out to visit you, she might be visiting your home, just to get a better understanding of what that experience looks like for you, so that she can ensure that she's sharing that with her team to drive even better results in terms of the overall housekeeping experience for you. I've actually encouraged her when she does get a comment card and that score is a little bit lower, just to reach out to get some context about that. Because lots of times we don't see handwritten notes, but if she's better understanding what that looks like, and it could be the details, or there wasn't any high dusting, or they missed the corners, whatever it is, she can share that with the housekeepers, and then we can improve that experience for you. So these are just other ways that we're trying to drive better outcomes versus just waiting on an annual basis or the intermittent phone call when an experience is bad. So Rhonda, thank you for leading that initiative. Appreciate that. One of the other areas on the survey was wellness, and we got a great wellness team here, some really tenured staff. So I know I appreciate that, and based on feedback that I've received from members, I believe that you appreciate that as well. But some of the areas that they're focusing on, this is really based on your feedback, is they've increased the clinic hours, and it's not a whole lot, but they've added an hour to when you're available to see them with some of the feedback that we received. And then also from time to time, members may need some support services on the weekend. Now, while we don't staff somebody here on the weekend for wound care, at times if the doctor writes an order for that, we will have a nurse come in to ensure that that bandage is changed and you're taken care of. So our wellness team has launched a couple support groups. One around bereavement, and then another for caregivers. So if you're a caregiver for someone else, these support groups can help you, work through, that emotion, the emotions that you might be working through. So led monthly wellness walks and lunches. So if you're not aware, would encourage you, this is a beautiful time to walk. And then coordinated 3 vaccine clinics, including the COVID, flu, and RSV. So I think the flu is yet to come, but if you haven't seen them, then they'll be coming. So I believe we did about 100 COVID shots in about an hour. Burke's Pharmacy was here. That's pretty good, that's pretty quick. So sort of break that down, that's like 1.5 shots, 1.5 members per minute, that's getting a shot. So that's pretty impressive. So that's your wellness team, focusing on some of that feedback. And then our fitness team has done the same. So typically get really good scores, from the fitness center, but they wanted to up their game as well. And once again, this is based on feedback that we've received from you. So that we got living well lunches and seminars about balance and mobility, hydration, fall prevention, etc. So these classes are really good that for folks or members that might need additional support in that area. Introduce dance yoga twice a week, led quarterly fitness challenges, and nearly half of the members here participated. That's pretty impressive. They support fitness classes in assisted living in Broad Creek, and then they provided fitness assessments to over 50 members. So we got a beautiful fitness center, we got a beautiful pool, we got a lot of great staff that work there. For me personally, even though it's somewhat detached, I'm really proud of the results that we're able to get out of our fitness program. And our security and gatehouse. So this was one of the big ones that we got feedback on last year. Members weren't being greeted, non-existent kind of communication. They weren't energized, engaged. Customer experience wasn't very good. So we got a lot of verbatims about the gatehouse last year. And there was other considerations about the gatehouse change as well. One was the financial impact. So I think prior to this year, when they wanted to submit an increase, the 2 previous years, they held prices flat. But they found that they could no longer compete in this area. So the prices went up almost like 20%, which is really a lot of money, because it was close to, I think it pushed it over $400,000 just for that contract. So we decided to bring that in-house for a couple reasons. One was the experience, and 2 was the financial that we can do better financially with our own folks here. So we brought them in-house, hired a security supervisor, Chief Mike, former chief of police. So you can feel secure with him down there at the gate. And then 12 security officers. Some of them were held over from the previous company, and then others were hired. Our gatehouse does provide 24/7, 365-day-a-year coverage. And even during Hurricane Debbie, our perimeter was secure because we had gatehouse folks here. And then we do patrol 18 hours a day. You may not see them a whole lot, but they're pretty active in going through the community, and they have specific areas that they need to touch through their shift and check in with during the shift to ensure that all areas of the community are checked. Overall, that with bringing that in-house, it did improve the member gatehouse experience, but there's benefits way beyond that. Family members coming in, hopefully they're feeling the joy. The sales experience is another one. So a lot of positive things. And then they do help direct emergency services. So if there is a 911 call, not only with our security team, but also the gatehouse, we're able to get them there, get them to the exact location. Now, we do quite a few 911 calls, and I know that Hilton Head Fire and Fire actually probably knows every building in this community. It's pretty good. You can actually go on their website, you can see how many calls come from Hilton Head. It's quite a few, but we do help direct them. So this was a really big focus area for us. And Carrie helped to lead the charge on this. And then lifestyles. So that's an energized program right there. Sometimes I don't know how Joy does it all. So Joy and Kathy and transportation, but there's a lot of partnership throughout the community and a lot of partnership with you to help drive really good outcomes with their lifestyle program. So, and once again, a lot of these are a result of partnerships and feedback from you all. So the Lifestyle Department partnered with Member Services Committee to initiate a member-led ambassador program. So this really benefits our new members coming in and that new member experience. It helps to get them oriented and tied into the community. Partnered with members to coordinate, promote new and current member-led activities. And there was a whole lot of member-led activities. I think there was a Bible study, there might have been a backgammon group, and many others that you partnered with the Lifestyle team on. Broadened our musical entertainment portfolio, adding several new musical performances, and some of those were requested from you. We hosted quarterly happy hours, which is just helping to support members that might need more education on our application. So that has been something that team has done. And then also they've increased evening and weekend performances. So many of you may have gone down to Shelter Cove or gone to the Jazz Quarter, which is a pretty neat experience in itself. So that's all supported through our lifestyle. Work closely with Memory Matters to coordinate monthly Montreal cognitive assessment opportunities that were done confidentially and privately through our wellness area. Coordinated brain booster classes for 20 members, and another brain boosters is planned for 2025. And then work with the fitness team to promote Minutes in Motion in June, and conducted an awards ceremony and ordered t-shirts for 100 participants. So that's pretty engaging, right? So a lot of folks were involved in that. So that's your lifestyle team based on the feedback that they were getting and their partnership with the Lifestyle Committee. Then transportation. So this is one of the areas that when we were looking at the survey results, there was quite a few that were in the neutral bucket. And based on, I guess, participation that we see within transportation, we thought that maybe some folks just don't use it and may have hit neutral. So that's why I was sharing earlier on, if you don't really use the program, no need to really answer the question. Just skip it, because there's no NA on any of those questions. But this team provide safe and reliable transportation for not only the members here, but also in Broad Creek on a daily basis. And then from time to time, they have those special exceptions. And our team always wants to go above and beyond, so they're incorporating them into the schedule as well. Pick up prescriptions and deliver labs, which is very unique. You generally don't see that out of a transportation department, but we do it here, which is really a nice added service that we're able to provide for you. And then once again, grocery runs, which is another, I think, holdover probably from COVID. A lot of communities were doing that during COVID, so members didn't have to go out and be exposed. That was held over here, another nice service that we add that you typically don't see, but it's very valuable for our members. And then we also, then that team also does weekly and monthly transportation to Publix and other shopping centers. So there is a pretty active group in there, really engaged bunch of gentlemen that are helping to take care of you. So now I want to move into Hurricane Helene and just really, this storm is moving really, really fast. I know there's a lot of words there. And I really only got 3 slides, but I just tried to pick out, and you can go to the National Weather Service Charleston, and you can see the same information. This is the update from 5:30 this morning. There'll be another update, I believe, right around 12 o'clock today. I'm sure that, you know, once you turn on the Weather Channel, it's hard to turn it off, because they just keep it rolling, and that thing will just roll all day. But this is a pretty fast-moving storm. And as I shared last night in my message, the reach of this is far and wide compared to other hurricanes. So they're saying as big as Katrina, maybe it's not going to be a Category 5, but the span of the impact reaches pretty far out and will touch us here at Tide Point. So what are we going to see, and when are we going to see it, it's going to be later on today. This evening actually is when we're going to see the most intense part of the storm, which is going to be heavy rain at times. Could get up to 4 inches. We're going to see some high winds. The last report I saw, right around 25 mile an hour, but you can see some higher gusts. I think one of the biggest threats that we have in this area, particularly on the overnight, is the potential for tornadoes. It was shared with me earlier that with one member that has lived here for many, many years, that they've never seen a tornado on the island, but that is a potential, and I think you see that with many storms, right? There's always that potential. So I just share that just so there's an awareness that for anybody that's in their home at any given time, if there is a tornado, stay away from the windows, get into the interior of your house, maybe even a central closet, or in the bathtub with something over top of you. So, and a bottle of So,
Yeah, that's right. Don't forget that.
so that's what Helene looks like, right? Right now it's just the southern tip of Florida. And by another 24 hours, 36 hours, it's going to be well inland. That's how fast it's going to move once this thing really picks up some steam. But all the blue is really tropical storm warnings, and that's a pretty big swath for tropical storm warnings. The red is where the hurricane is going to hit, and then it's going to, once it comes inland, the Big Bend is going to roll to the left. It's planned to roll to the left towards Atlanta and then up into Nashville. So they're saying it could be a Category 4 by the time it strengthens over the Gulf. Stay tuned for additional updates. For us, I mean, the message that I sent last night is really, hey, if you have anything on your porch, you know, let's get it secured. That's really the risk for anything outside. 25, 30 mile an hour winds could pick anything up really, and then it becomes a projectile. Maintenance is available to help you. I know this morning they were actually at the pool and starting to sort of secure all the pool outdoor equipment. Rain, we're not expecting really heavy flooding, but we could see light flooding. I've heard nothing from Hilton Head Island or the county in terms of potential bridge closures, at least close here at this time. but we'll stay close to the updates and provide updates as we go along. This is what they're considering with their threat level report here. This is the last one from 5:30 this morning, and you can see that minor impact for the wind from late this afternoon through tomorrow morning. And by the way, they're expecting this to be out of our area by about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's how quick it's going to move. There's going to be a surge, storm surge for coastal areas, minor impact. You can see the heaviest rain that we'll potentially see here, the kind of moderate impact is overnight. And then you have the tornado, and then anything that's water related. If you're on the water, that's a pretty high impact. You don't want to be out on the water, during the storm. So, but the tornado warning or threat is high overnight. So what you typically see, we saw it during Debbie, I've seen it with other hurricanes, just the way these things wind around and the bands that they have, the strength of the bands, you never know what you're gonna get. So just, I just say that just so you're cautious, right? We just need to be cautious. So best case scenario, it does a Debbie and sort of gets out of here and with no impact or little impact.
About the issue of tornadoes. So this morning there was quite a bit about tornadoes on the Weather Channel and locally. So here's how we are prepared when we live in Sun City, and even more so here. We have a weather radio, and it automatically will tell us when there's something in the area that could be of concern to us, so we would know to get to our safe area without windows. However, there's another way, and that would be through a smartphone. If you have a weather app and a smartphone and it's engaged, and it's on high volume, you can get a warning. So if you don't get the warning, you're done. You have to know when to get to that safe zone. Well,
Right. So the comment was about, how do you get the warning? So one way is you can use your smartphone and you can set it up to get warnings. This morning mine went off. It's a pretty loud noise. It's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But it does alert you to, the potential tornadoes. So there's a way you can go in and set your phone up to be able to get those. Weather radio is another way. I think, when you're talking overnight, the potential for something to happen overnight, I think it increases the risk to everybody because that's when we sleep, obviously. So, I think the phone is probably the best way that you can go in and set up alerts. Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to note that this bit about tornadoes is real. Barrington was seen down near Rose Hill.
Yeah.
Like, what's that relation? Couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Phyllis, can you, if you have any other questions, just walk around with us? So there was a comment, the threat from tornadoes is real, that this morning there was one supposedly seen around Rose Hill, and I heard the same, although it hasn't been confirmed. I just heard there was flying debris, and they may tie that into some type of, it could have been some type of tornado. So the other, potentially we could lose power, you never know. We did pretty good with Debbie, but you never know how these things are gonna play out, so. And then just a couple other communications about upcoming events. On October 10th, we'll have a Mingle with Mike, which is the second Thursday of the month, 10 o'clock right here. And then 2 weeks later, we'll have the town hall meeting for October the 24th. And that's gonna be at 10 o'clock. Just a couple other notes real quick. Just a reminder that there is gonna be some fire drills in the 301 and 501 building in October. We've got some communications out around that. We'll send some additional stuff, communications out prior to that happening, just as a reminder. And some really great news I wanted to share, that we've hired a dining director. Okay. We've hired a dining director. Zoran Bolshevik is his name. And Zoran currently works at the Yacht Club of South Carolina in Windmill Harbor. He's had some time at Disney on the island. He's had some time Sea Pines Plantation, working at the inn, and actually was a key player working at the inn to help elevate that whole program to a Forbes, I want to say it might have been a 4-star rating at the inn. So he's got some really good experiences. He was in wine sales. As a matter of fact, the representative here last night, Miriam, actually knows him from wine sales and actually said, hey, I was just with him last week doing a wine event at his community or where he works at the Yacht Club. So I think it's going to be a great addition to our team. But I would also like just to give the dining team a shout out, particularly the supervisors, because Charmaine and Loretta and Sandra have actually held down the fort during this transition. They've done a really good job in terms of just ensuring that we have a great dining experience for you all during the transition. So I don't want that to go unnoticed, but also the team as well. So the team has really done a great job as well. And to Mr. Nimer's point, we don't see a lot of comments about poor experiences from a service standpoint in the dining room. That does happen from time to time. But overall, I think our servers do a really good job in our dining room. So, and if you haven't heard, I'm going to do a questions just a minute. If you haven't heard, we got a pastry chef that's been hired as well. And I believe Ben is his name. I don't recall his last name, but he did really good when he came out and did his. There's a tasting. There's like a chef test that they do. And then we taste it. And I wasn't part of the tasting. I was off that day, but it was outstanding from what I hear. There's some really unique and special things that Ben does. So you might find a homemade hamburger bun, on the menu, or some homemade breads. So we're really excited about him starting. I think he starts, Chef, what day is that?
October 14th.
October 14th. So. Yeah, really excited about Ben. So with that, we can open it up for questions.
So this is in reference to any water intrusion that any of us may have experienced in the past at any of our windows or anywhere in where we live. So with 4 inches of rain predicted and a lot of wind, I know we personally are going to be very alert. We have plenty of towels ready for the winter to get one that does experience that. And we're also we're going to augment it with a mop and a pail, just in case. No, because it does damage.
But they were going to caulk it today.
Yeah, okay, well, that's true. But, all right, you can mention it. All right, so, because it does damage. I mean, it got to our floor once, and it did damage to the floor, and the floor had to be replaced. Thanks to Tide Point, it was replaced. But we want to protect it now. We don't want to have, that to happen again for everyone's sake. It comes out of the budget. Okay, that's what I want to tell.
So it's just a reminder that if you get really heavy rain, driving rains, you might want to have some towels available in case you get some water intrusion. And of course we would call maintenance right away.
I have a completely different question. Those of us that are in the verandas or in the houses, when is our pickup day for our trash now? Is it? The last 2 weeks they've come on Wednesday. Are we changed to Wednesday pickup, or should we still put our trash out for a Tuesday pickup?
Good question.
That is a great question. We'll get an answer for you. Yeah, for everyone. For whatever reason, that just changed up when we had these problems with billing with them. So I don't understand it, but we'll get an answer for you.
I didn't know if it was a permanent change.
Yeah, we'll get an answer. Yeah.
Michael, do we have an emergency backup plan for when Hargrave goes down again? Maybe going to Ann Randall's department as an emergency phone because she's on Spectrum. You should have a Spectrum line here.
So no. Although we know that we can, if hardware goes down and Spectrum's up, then we can tie into the internet wireless to some degree and have some level of communications. But it came up in conversation that maybe we could explore a backup system, because some other communities had a system like that will at least be able to provide basic coverage for you. So that is something that we'll explore, but it's similar to like if Spectrum went down, there's really no backup plan for that either. So it's just, if the internet goes down, like I have a satellite phone, I can communicate in the worst of situations with those that I need to communicate with, but not electronically via email. And then generally we're able to get push messages out in some capacity with our emergency management system. If we're not able to do it via email, then at least we might be able to do it text or other ways, because there's 4 ways we can push messages out. But it's a good question, definitely.
The other night I lost my air conditioner, and the reason probably was a stopped up drain plug. But nonetheless, I called security to request assistance for whatever maintenance was required. His answer to me was that we don't do that at night anymore. Maintenance is only provided during the working hours. And it certainly seems odd not to be able to get help at night when your home temperature is soaring and the outside temperature is also soaring.
Yeah. I'm not sure what time that happened, but yeah, I mean, if it's 12 midnight, yeah. I haven't heard that we don't come in emergency situations, so that's something that I'll have to take up with Quentin. Yeah, but it's, I think I shared my story about when I was here and during Hurricane Debby, and I woke up in the middle of the night and the air conditioner was off. Just because we're saving, that's one of the ways that we save money in the fitness center. There's nobody down there, so you don't really need to have a cooling temperature down there. It was like set at like 78 or something like that, which is warm. So, but I'll talk to Quentin about that, and we can get some communications out around that.
Policy issue.
Yeah, thank you. We're coming around.
We couldn't hear his question.
Oh. So the question was, the comment was that around midnight, his air conditioner started heating, the air in his apartment or home started heating up as a result of the drain line on his air conditioner being blocked. He called for maintenance and was told that they don't do that. They don't clear out drains on the overnight. So, so I need to get with Quentin to see, what is the communication that we're going to be having, because that's pretty uncomfortable for a member, on the overnight not to have air conditioner. Yeah. Yes.
The card room, we're having a big problem freezing in the card room. And jackets and sweaters and anything you do to make sure so that we are more comfortable. And then I'm thinking in the wintertime, when the heat is on, will we be like an oven? Can we do something about adjusting the temperature?
Well, the temperature adjustment is in my office. Full transparency. I know Phyllis is in there quite a bit, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I'll say, Phyllis, why is it so hot in here? She goes, well, because they're cold out there. And I'm like, okay, when are they done? But to your point, that is a little odd, right? The temperature control for that room is in my office. Especially since I'm like, pretty far away. Anyway, well, maybe we can adjust the dampers in there. Yeah. I mean, like in the admin office, it's really set at a comfort level. So I'm really don't know why it gets so cold in that room, because it's not really cold in my room. So, but we can take a look at adjusting some of that. Yeah. You're welcome.
Have you noticed the flickering lights in the room?
I see one over your head that's flickering.
They're all flickering.
Yeah.
In my kitchen, they're all flickering.
Yeah. That could be a result of, is it dimmers in here? The dimmers in here, Joy?
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody look at it.
Yeah, we can. Could just be sort of where they're set on the dimmer switch that needs to be adjusted. Yes, thanks for pointing it out, because usually, you know, I don't see that, because I'm usually here during the day, not as much at night, so. Was there any other questions? Okay, all right, well, thanks so much. Well, good questions today, thank you. Yeah.